jail.
Miller, did they put you in jail again?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get this.
Yeah.
I got so many comments and none of them will be pleasant or reported in the press, so I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
Here's your time.
All right, this time we'll call this regular meeting of Hill County Commissioners Court to order. This, the 8th day of October, 2024, like the record reflected, is 8:30 a.m. There's a quorum of commissioners present and established, and this meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Government Code 551, better known as the Texas Open Meetings Act. This meeting is being held both in person, and there's those that can participate online. If you're interested or know how to use YouTube, that's where you'll find our YouTube channel at. There's nobody at this time that I'm aware of that's signed up to speak online before 8 a.m. this morning as per our rules of decorum. However, if somebody comes along, we're going to try to work them in if we can. So at this time, before we move forward, is there anybody here from Hillsborough Ministerial Alliance? I thought that was you in the back. Could you, sir, please come forward and give us the invitation? Thank you.
Father, we thank you so much for this morning and this time that we have together. We just pray for wisdom in this room, that you give these leaders wisdom in the decisions that they're here to make. We thank you, Lord, for everything that you've done for Hill County, and we just ask that you continue to bless us. We love you, Father. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. But on a serious note, before we turn to do the pledge, that's how you address somebody from the back of the room. Man, that was great. I hear you up here. All right, pledge America to Texas. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, guys. Pastor, thank you so much. Have a wonderful week.
Yes, sir, you too.
I think it's great that Hillsborough's Ministerial Alliance keeps this up all the time. I know those guys got everything going, so we always appreciate when they send somebody our way. Pastor Mike out of Church on the Hill, he usually does a whole year, 6 months in advance to give us an idea who's going to be here. So we appreciate him. Okay, well, let's get this thing started this morning. What's happening in Precinct 4 Hill County today?
Well, we came to shred a bunch of junk roads and trees. The trees really grew this year, all the rain.
If they didn't die.
Yes,
sir. That'll be enough to keep you busy for a while. What's happening in Precinct 3?
Hopefully, we're finishing up our milling project on 171 today.
How's that going?
We've got a little over, well, right at 3 miles. I don't know how much more of road coverage of this thing. Set up real well. Two roads that are completely finished.
Oh, wow. Is the state repaving that behind that milling?
Yes, sir. They're right behind me this year.
I had to go out to Alpine for judicial conference last week, and I saw something I've never seen before, and I'm a huge fan of it. The state has a Highway 67, leaves out of Alpine, Texas, heads to Fort Davis. Not 67, forgive me. It's 18, I think. Anyway, that crew worked 24 hours a day. You go by at 5 a.m. in the morning, they were working. You go by at 8 at night, they were working, and they were, yeah, I'd like to hire them elsewhere.
My guys got off at 8 o'clock on that.
Wow.
So,
They're moving then.
yeah, they run 12-hour day.
About how much material do you think you got out of that?
Oh, 300, 400, 500 loads. I'm not sure. Hadn't added it up yet.
Oh, wow. Okay, good.
They've been consistently 15 loads a day, 3-4 trucks.
Wow.
So
That's a lot of savings for the county.
That day that my guys helped you on that Saturday, they hauled 10 loads, I think, each on that Saturday.
that was a short day too. They got off at 3:15. So
What?
yeah, Larry loaned me 2 guys on Saturday, so I appreciate that. And a truck.
Good.
Helped us out a lot.
Oh, thank you guys working together. I always appreciate it. Glad to hear things going well. What's happening in Precinct 2?
Well, we're finishing up a couple of dead end roads while they got the crops out, before we turn around in the fields. That when they kind of frown on that when they get their corn planted and turn around out there. But we finished up 2, 3 dead end roads.
Okay.
And got Peacock Road finished up a couple of weeks ago, and it was a dead end road. And got that worked out, so we're gonna start today on chat, trying to reprocess that. And city is is gonna put a meter there for me. I can get water out to help process the material.
Okay.
try to get started on that project before the weather changes too much.
That'll be good. I appreciate that. Jim, what's happening precinct one this morning?
Blind shredded. I'm still amazed at that old tractor with that. We thought we hadn't used it, hadn't been used in 4 years. And,
Runs like a champ.
well, yeah. The word was, I had guessed it was one,
Mhm.
turned out it wasn't, we fixed all the hydraulic leaks. I've been on that. Run up down roads, and
Maintenance.
it'll take those blood weeds fast. It's good.
Good.
Well, anyway, we're trying to catch up, we're working on 1414 north,
Okay.
1429, all 1400s. 1413, 1425, 1418.
Y'all running blades or dropping gravel? Both. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
We're trying to short 1429. It needed to be rebuilt from one end to the other.
Yeah.
It got really bad, pretty narrow there, and the rock we got last week was wet. Yeah, we couldn't figure that out either, so we went to Rattle, got some good rock.
Okay.
It's working out good.
Good to hear. Good to hear. What's happening in the SO this week?
Just plugging along.
Plugging along. All right, good deal. What's up with my constable, Mr. Armstrong?
Plugging along.
All right, paper still pretty steady?
Yes, sir.
Good to hear. Good.
You will.
Oh, he served me yesterday. Yeah, y'all got me sued. Thanks. Appreciate that, Sheriff's Office.
I had that person.
Philip, what's going on with the IT department this week?
It's all things CG audit, Judge. We got the CG audit the week before last, and so we've got DPS has expanded their criteria, their requirements, and so we are working to make sure that we are compliant with all their community requests.
Oh, good deal. Appreciate that.
Sheriff Watson and I both like to thank Philip as well as Chris Jackson. They were very instrumental on it.
No doubt at all. Tom, what's going on with emergency management?
We had our first meeting yesterday with these two partners,
This is for the hazard mitigation plan.
litigation, we got them all. With GLO, trying to get the grant going, so we get the plan going. So I sent them a lot of documents yesterday, hopefully there's some stuff that I think she's gonna have to get from Susan.
Okay.
I gave her that comment info, but they're definitely up and going. We got tomorrow night, we've got the event out there at the fairground. I did speak with Wayne Stovall Friday
About the Siri grant?
about the Siri grant. CJAC got money, has already started getting money for their funds.
Okay.
So FEMA is, of course, with everything going on and with what's about to hit Florida, I don't really expect it to be better. But hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll know something for sure. We can get that started.
Okay.
It's a lot of little things to keep them from.
All right. Well, appreciate that. Chris, anything from radio administration side?
No, everything that we're doing is gonna be talked about here in a few minutes.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Judge, anything from the JP's office? That sounds like Arthur, come on in. Anything county attorney report this morning?
No, sir.
I thought I was gonna hear like Ann was underranked or something, you know?
All good idea.
All right, well, quickly from this area, ESD one, Mr. Goins, what's happening to ESD one?
We have begun a new fiscal year, we're looking forward to what's coming, and we're trying to anticipate and stay ahead of what's coming.
That's always a good game plan, thank you. Mr. Duncan, I see ESD two back there, what's happening with you guys?
You gave you a pretty good report at the last meeting.
He did.
In fact, we were in Grove City, Ohio, at the Portland plant,
Oh.
where they build those ambulances. And very impressed, our fifth ambulance was in the final stages of production,
Okay,
and so we should have that within the next month or so.
oh, that's great,
We have started this fiscal year, doing a grant program to our first responder organizations
yes, sir.
for EMS equipment. If they have a piece of equipment or some equipment or anything they might think they might need, they can apply to us for a grant, and we will possibly help them get that EMS equipment.
I appreciate that. Thank you. You guys are doing a great job and we're really happy with you. So thank
And
you.
then a reminder that October 19th, open house dedication at the Hooper Engine Station in honor of Barbara.
We'll be there.
Hamburger, not house followers.
All right, good deal, good deal. All right, quickly from this seat, a couple of things. This week's kind of playing catch up from me being out of the office physically last week. One of the big things is we're holding our annual resource fair this Wednesday from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at 205 Stadium Drive. Well, we did this a couple of years ago, the first time, called it a health fair. It's not really a name that's accurately described. It was an initiative out of the Heart Texas Council of Governments. I'm doing it in-house this year. April Cook has been instrumental in doing this. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce, Miss Lynette Finley, particularly for Harrell, forgive me, Lynette Harrell. I performed the marriage. You think I would remember the names. It's terrible. Anyway, they've been advertising it for us. We have over 34 people, 34 organizations that are going to be there. It's going to show you all the things that are offered in our community right now, social services, everything from veteran services, emergency management, everything from the Boy Scouts to the Red Cross, you name it. We've got a lot of emphasis on our area agency on aging, on our 211. Resources that are available for those that are indigent, resources that are available for those that are elderly. Even if you're not in need of something right now, I highly recommend you come out Wednesday just to peruse, because you never know when that piece of information, you can pass it along to somebody that will be in need of it. So that's a lot of our folks' attention. Yesterday was the last day to register to vote. We believe we've got a pretty clean roll. This Thursday, the sample ballots will come out in the newspaper because the 21st of October starts early vote. And if you like voting topics, come here tomorrow morning at 8:30. We will have the Elections Commission meeting. We were going to have two separate companies present to us the check-in software, not anything to do with voting, but just the check-in portion of it. Unfortunately, one of these companies is headquartered in Florida, and they called yesterday and let us know that they can't get a flight here in a timely fashion. So we'll be rescheduling one of them for a later date. All that being said and done, we have a bunch of work ahead of us this week and next. But I know everybody's got things under control from what it sounds like. Well, I hadn't heard anything from you yet. Anything going to the clerk's office?
Not a thing.
No,
Just work.
Just work. All right, good deal. All right, this time I'm going to move on to presentations. We have before us this morning a presentation from our friends McCreary of Veselka. They have been our delinquent tax attorneys for goodness, longer than I've been here, and that's been a while. Mr. Robert Myers, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge. I'm Robert Myers, McCreary Law Firm. I'm here with Nick Gilchie, another attorney in our firm. And I asked the judge to only get a few minutes before the court. Our firm has been representing Hill County since the early 1950s. Jack McCreary was our founding partner in the firm.
That long, since the 50s.
Jack started the business there. Hill County was one of his first clients in some of the other taxing authorities here, Hillsborough and Itasca and Hubbard. And we represent virtually all the taxing authority cities in school districts within the county, along with the county itself. I joined the firm in 1987 and have had the opportunity and privilege of representing on behalf of our firm, the Hill County or the taxing jurisdictions up here for the last 37 years. And I wanted to let the court know that this will be my final year of working with the law firm in working and representing Hill County residents. And it's been an honor, it's been a privilege to work with you all and your citizens and taxpayers and entities. And it's been a really journey for my life, professionally and personally, to do that. I want to thank all the court and all the public officials, the clerk's offices, and the sheriff's office and the constables for assisting us in working to get your taxes collected and working with your taxpayers to resolve their delinquencies in a way that I think you would want us to do so by sitting down and visiting with them and doing whatever corrective action that we need to do through the courts and everything like that. And it's been a really great experience, and I've really enjoyed it and grown and learned a lot about local government, local people, and just had a wonderful experience and journey for my life. So thank you for having us. And Nick is here. I'd like to just have him introduce himself, if I may, and let you know he'll be working and continuing our firm's good service for the county.
All right. Well, good morning, y'all. Judge, commissioners. My name is Nick Gilchie. I've been with the firm since 2019. I spent 3 years before that with the Attorney General's office doing eminent domain and tort litigation for TxDOT primarily. So I'm excited to fill Robert's big shoes to fill for sure.
Most definitely.
And I'm excited to work with all of y'all. So if you need anything, please let me know and you'll be seeing me more frequently.
All right, thank you, Nick. Great. Wonderful. Robert, thank you for many years of good and faithful service to the county. I got this job. I didn't know the first thing about delinquent taxes. And you held our hand and walked us through that. Always an educator as well as our attorney. It was never just we're doing it this way. It was here's the explanation why we're doing it this way. I greatly appreciate that. We've learned a lot from you over the years and I wish you the best in your retirement.
Well, thank you very much, Judge. It's been a joy and pleasure working with you and the commissioners and being up here in Hill County.
Maybe you'll be able to see better than again.
Yeah, Commissioner mentioned that to me. That may prolong very long indefinitely. We wait for that to the meeting season, but I'll have an opportunity to watch all that unfold in the years to come.
Wonderful. Good deal. Well, thank you so much, Robert. Wish you the best. I know we've got you until the end of when's the official last day?
I'll be here to the end of the year.
That's what I thought you told me.
I'll be seeing you here in the county and then any place else. I know there's a conference coming up. I want to see Commissioner Lake and maybe some of you other guys if you decide to be there and yourself as well.
Oh, I didn't. You didn't have to. Yes.
I rarely come into this courthouse, but I stick my head in there and making sure he's hard at work and he's always there.
See, that's what I like about this guy. He will cover for you. Thank you so much, Mr. Mike. Appreciate it. Nick, pleasure to meet you guys. Look forward to working with you. You don't have to stick around for the rest of this, but you're welcome to if you want to.
All right. We'll not visit around and just head back in here for a little bit.
All right, sounds good. Mr. Mike.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge.
All right. All right, moving right along then. At this time, we're going to move into our open forum. If there's anybody here to address
To know if Compton's gonna go to that aging will this week.
shots fired.
You know what? I apologize. People see here on the 22nd, so I look forward to that meeting.
So for those that didn't catch that at home, first there were some old jokes thrown and then there was some gratitude for one commissioner not being here. We'll put that on the official record. So at a future meeting. All right, at this time, open forum, anybody here to address the court on any matter that's not on their agenda, or maybe it is. If you'd like to, this is your opportunity to do so. If you could limit your comments to about 3 to 5 minutes in duration, as we respect you, please respect the court. Yes, ma'am, if you'll come forward so the people at home can hear you.
I don't have a big presentation. In 2020, I worked at the polling place. We barely had a break. When I saw the election results, there was a whiteboard with a news broadcaster and a red line going up the top and a flat line basically for Biden. And all of a sudden it flipped, and numerous people have seen that. And when I saw that, I thought, what's going on? And I don't know how much y'all have spent on the voting machines, but I've done extensive research as well as other people nationwide. Other countries are going to one day to vote, paper ballots, hand counted, sequentially numbered ballots, various things like that. Perhaps ballots with a watermark so they can't be counterfeited. And, some countries are, and counties and such are voting to put the machines aside and go to what I just mentioned. And I believe it would be the best for everybody in Hill County, to know. And also there's a method.
I can't have a backdoor conversation with you in open forum because of the rules, but I can correct issues or misstatements of fact. Hill County does have paper ballots with unique identifying numbers, and we retain those ballots as required by law. The machine counts it. That's all it does. But if there was an argument about that count, we have the paper ballots that we retain that somebody could recount it. So we don't have problems like you're describing elsewhere. And I feel bad for those people that their governments hadn't done what we've done. But I just want to make sure that everybody knows that in Hill County, there are paper ballots and we do retain those paper ballots. So,
all right. I just want the best for Hill County. And
obviously, same as us.
And anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say for right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you for comments. Anybody else for open forum? Going once, going twice. We're going to dive into the agenda. At this time, we have the consent agenda. It's action on minutes, action on payroll, action on invoices, monthly report, revenue and disbursement, transferring all the county clerks' money to the county judge, and observe and record elected officials training. I just whoa. Oh, did that one part not on there? Sorry, that didn't make the agenda. Maybe that's just me. I just like to see if anybody's paying attention to these things. Okay, make a motion. I just want to show you what, this is the consent agenda today. Trees died for this. Wait till we get down to the employee wage status. All right, so if you have an email, I printed out for her sake, actually the treasurer's office prints it out for me, so I appreciate that. Copies of the invoices after review. I see nothing there, so we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, and there was a second. Is there any further discussion? Anything that we need to talk about? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion shall carry unanimously. All right, let me get these started around because this could take half a day if not. Oh, look, Miss Parker, training certificate. She couldn't be with us this morning. Her son had a medical issue. He was going to be okay. It looks like they were just checking up on it. So we'll keep her and her boy in our prayers. There's that. And then we'll pass these around. Oops. May have put a hole in your minutes there by accident, not on purpose. Okay, number 2 is discuss and or approve employee wage changes. All right, I'll start reading these slowly so the record catches all of it if you want me to. Or I can tell you that I have reviewed these and to the best of my knowledge and understanding. These employee wage status changes are correct and accurate as to the budget that this court has previously approved. Obviously, October 1 starts our new fiscal year. Your choice. We can read them or no.
Make a motion.
Second.
Yeah, I just wondering. I want to give everybody a fair opportunity to be heard here. So we do that to keep the paperwork right. So we have a motion and a second to include approval of employee wage status changes. And I want to say thank you to everybody that took the time to fill these out. And then clearly to the treasurer's office who had to compile all of this data entry. We really appreciate all you do. We know this is a difficult task every year, but it's important to get it done. So I have a motion and a second. If there's any further discussion, if not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. Any abstentions? The motion shall carry unanimously. That brings us number 2 on our court item today, which is hold a public hearing on Hill County's intent to enter into a tax abatement agreement with Elawan Pitts Dudek Solar 2 LLC relating to solar facilities and equipment. That's a mouthful. Mr. Dixon, how are you today?
All right. Did you announce the time?
It is currently 8:53. To answer your question, no, I did not, but I've rectified it now. So
This is Elawan Pitts Dudek Solar 2 LLC. It's a complementary project to an existing project. It's a 30 megawatt AC solar energy production facility. We've created RIZ, or reinvestment zone number 19, located in Eastern Hill County. That's where it's going to be located. The projected capital investment is approximately $32,585,000. The yearly abatement starts at 30% and goes down from there based on our ranges. And the additions and improvements are set to be done by August 2025.
August 2025. Well, it's coming up quicker than you think. So at this time, is there anybody here to speak on a public hearing of Hill County's regarding Hill County's intent to enter into a tax abatement agreement with Elawan Pitts Dudek Solar 2 LLC relating to its solar equipment and facilities? I'll open the floor. Yes, ma'am, of course.
So just stand up.
Yeah, if you could. The reason for standing up is we can't hear very well up here. It's a beautiful courtroom, but metal ceiling and wood floor means bad acoustics. And more importantly, for those that are participating online, so that they can hear as well. Because the back of the room, it's always hard. Go ahead.
Here or?
Up here, please.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Environmental things are really important. I think Hill County ought to start planting trees. I know some people, it may not mean a lot, but it makes everything more beautiful. The hackberry trees are a big issue with me. Anyway, that's all I have to say. And dig some tanks and put trees around it. And anyway.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate your comments, ma'am. Anybody else for a public hearing regarding this matter? All right. Just one speaker? Nobody else? Okay. All right, in which case then, the court will say that a public hearing was held on Hill County's intent to enter into a tax abatement agreement with Elawan Pitts Duty Solar 2 LLC relating to solar facilities and equipment. And I will declare this, there's being nobody else going once, going twice. We're going to close the public hearing. And so please let the record show that the County Commissioners Court of Hill County held a public hearing on this matter on this date. That moves us along to number 3, which is discussion and or possible action on approval of the tax abatement agreement between Hill County, Texas and Elawan Pitts Duty Solar 2 LLC. Okay, motion second. We've talked about this previously. We've had public hearings on it. We previously approved the form of the tax abatement agreement. We have sent this approved form, proposed form to other taxing entities in the county, and we've published any according notices. Yes, sir.
Judge, Commissioners, Steve Van Dyke, and previously, I think I have 2 representatives of the company. If you guys have any questions before you file it, we wanted to offer that up.
No, thank you very much. I appreciate it. We obviously, this is an extension to a project we had previously approved. You guys have been very forthcoming and upfront about what this is. It's simply an extension of an existing project, what that looks like and what it means construction time. So appreciate the straightforwardness. And is there anything else before we have a motion? Was there a second?
Yes.
Yes, thought so. All right. Anything else? Yes, yeah, Miss Susan.
I was gonna ask on the abatement agreements, we don't, that's just handled at the cab, we don't actually retake them. Any part of the taxes, is it just taken care of, reduced at the price district?
Nope.
It's done, it's not a 381 when they pay.
Yeah, it's a 312, a tax abatement agreement. So go ahead, Mr. Biggs.
It's just a reduction of the taxable value. It's not a rebate of taxes.
Okay.
We tend to use these on the larger projects because when you get something like a $400 million project, and not that this one is, but something like that. And we have a total freeze adjusted taxable valuation of somewhere around 2.2 billion. It can have a pretty big swing if we do like a 381 and we're going to rebate it. It causes fluctuations in the tax rate that are unsustainable. So by using the 312 and abating it before it ever gets on our roll, it seems to be a better option for us. Again, we're doing a very small amount over a very small period of time with the sole intention of entering into a road use agreement with this group of folks. They've lived up to what they said they do in their past agreements. We greatly appreciate that. We've not had to take anybody to the old proverbial woodshed. So we thank you very much. All right, good question though. Anything else? I'll call it. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? The motion shall carry a vote of 4-1. Please show Commissioner Precinct 1, Jim Holcomb, voting in nay. All right, we've got a tax abatement agreement. It's the notice. Bear with me. I put the culvert setting policy behind the bonds. I will get this signed. You get it to you, gentlemen. Mike, do you need a signed copy to go? You brought your own.
I'll do it now. There, he said the blue and get. It's black. That is blue.
Yeah. Blue ink it is. Hang on just a second. I'm going to sign it for everybody. It's the 8th day of October, correct? I'm going to take just a second to sign this because if I don't, trying to get this done later might be a bit of a challenge. And it also gives everybody a chance to look at that culvert setting policy that is proposed in next. There you go. I appreciate it. Will we need to adopt a second one of those? Sign a second one?
Brewer. I just didn't have a copy of the sign.
I've got a second one right here. Pages. What you got?
It would be.
You need a blue pen?
It would be exhibit D.
Yes, sir. I'm getting to it there. You got to go about 3 or 4 more pages. All right, so there's 8th October.
Well, I've already got it attached here.
And then, yep, sign those 2, and then we're going back to this one. Sign it in duplicate. There you go, ma'am. All right. So number 4 is an item that we've worked on back and forth for some time. I want to get some action on this. This is a culvert setting policy. This is how does the county go about its uniform setting culverts? There's been multiple different ways to do it over the years. What I'm trying to do is come up with a uniform system whereby anybody that calls my office from any part of the county, the rules are the same. There is a permit, just like the TxDOT folks do, a permitting system where there's one point of contact. I want to make sure the commissioner or his representative is not cut out of this because they're still going to have to determine location and size of said culvert and how that's going to work. I have a permit application I'm working on, but I don't have it ready for prime time yet. But the goal is to get this guy in front of y'all and have conversations regarding it. And if you think something needs to be in here, it's not in here, something that is in here that shouldn't be in here. I know that we've had questions regarding mailboxes and things like that too. I don't know that this is the right policy for it, but that's something that we're putting in a subdivision policy, talking with our county surveyor, Jesse Ince, about. I think that might be something that we need to deal with there. This policy is very straightforward. It simply addresses I don't want to say the problem of culverts, but man, culverts are a problem some days. Culverts are the main issue about road building. If you can't keep the water off of it, you're never going to keep the rock in it. We have so many culverts that are stopped up, undersized, whatever the reason may be, put in the wrong place, because over the years, how we govern this was more of a free-for-all. Hey, you take care of it and that's good enough. It's now becoming a real issue, A, the culverts that were improperly placed in the past, and B, going forward, people that were less than scrupulous in trying to develop property. I know up in Commissioner Lake's precinct, he's had to remove several 6-inch culverts or less. Anything under 18 just plugs up the first time you get a good rain, especially if you're doing it next to a plowed field. So our goal with this is not to tie the commissioner's hands. Our goal with this is to set a uniform policy that everybody in the county will know. If you want to set a culvert, here's the process by which you would go about it. That being said, I have no road and bridge authority. I've never set a culvert in this county for anybody other than myself. What do you guys think about this? And that's what I want you guys to get. If you're not willing to take action today, that's fine by me. I just need action on this soon so that we can get it out to the public, put it on the website. We're going to bring a lot of other policy before this court in the coming months. I believe that policy is good, but it's worthless if it just sits there and we don't readdress it occasionally. We'll have policies that you'll start seeing regarding NIMS, everything from our CGIS compliance, some policies that have come forward, a recommendation of our outside auditors. We'll probably relook at our fraud policy. I didn't realize how old that thing was. There's a lot of stuff like that. And there's this institutional knowledge, if you will, that resides in 1 or 2 people. We need to keep moving these things to the front burner so that we have a chance to review them, look at them, and let the public know this is what our values are and how we expect to do business going forward. Questions on the culvert policy?
I think that, I mean, we've been talking about this for over a year.
Yes, sir.
We kicked it around the block. Everybody's had an opportunity to opine about it.
Yes, sir.
And I think you've captured all of those comments. I make a motion to execute it as is.
Okay. Thank you much. Is there any?
Anybody that puts a culvert in, I don't recommend anything less than a 30-foot in the entrance.
So I think that's a great idea. And so what we've put in here is 24 is what we put in here. So we have if you look at culvert setting policy, section 5, that's on the second page, it says number 2, culvert type sizes must be approved by Hill County prior to their placement. A representative of Hill County will inspect the site to make determinations on the culvert or structure size and its placement according to our requirements. In no case shall a culvert be less than 18 inches in diameter and less than 24 length and constructed of 14 gauge steel or 14 gauge or greater galvanized corrugated steel be installed without written authorization from the county commissioner or the commissioner's designee. No concrete or plastic culverts will be permitted. We've had previous concrete discussions about concrete to pieces. The ground here moves. That doesn't last. The plastic culverts, nothing's impervious to garbage trucks running over the ends of them, but man, you can at least reinflate a metal culvert sometimes. Those plastic ones, that's the end of it when they do that. Yeah, so that's it. But 24 is the minimum, but the commissioner could always say, hey, no, I think it needs to be, because
always recommend 30.
Yes, sir. So culvert types and sizes must be approved by the county prior to 30. You may have some places where you say, hey, this needs to be 40 foot because of the angle coming off the road and the nature and type of traffic.
Well, that's always my question. I ask whether they're going to pull a trailer in or something with, length to it.
Mhm.
That That's the only reason I recommend that, somebody. And is there, the permit, there's not a cost for the permit?
Well, that's the second thing we need to talk about is, do you guys want to put a cost on this? We have some administrative fees, obviously. We're going to have the time and trouble put in by the 911 addressing folks who are going to operate this for us as part of their permitting process. We're going to have the time and trouble of you or your designee going out there and saying, no, this pole needs to be this many inches in diameter. Because remember, this is a base, a floor, a foundation. The commissioner can always make it more stringent because you're going to have places that 18-inch culvert is a joke. You're going to need a 60-inch or 80-inch culvert. So we can charge a fee. I wouldn't recommend getting punitive with it, but nothing more than just to cover our costs. $50 to $100, I would say, would probably be sufficient to start with. Your thoughts?
We need to first see the cost. Some of the administrative fees.
Yeah, we're not looking to make money. We're just looking to cover costs. And
so the permit itself will have a place for the commissioner to sign.
yes, sir. So the permit right now, what we're looking at, and by permit, it's a piece of paper, folks. It's not something fancy and embossed. But basically, it's going to have a couple of pieces of information. Obviously, the name and address, name of the owner of the property or the developer of the property, address of where that property is located at. I want to put GPS pin locations on where the culvert should go. I think that every one of you guys has GPS so that you could say, hey, this is where it goes. And we could put the exact pin location on there. That way there's no, oh, no, you said over here or over here. No, here's the GPS pin location. There's going to be a place for the approval of the commissioner, because without that approval, then this doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't happen. And then there needs to be a last but not least, a secondary inspection by the commissioner who designated to go out and make sure it was installed properly the way they said it was going to in accordance with permit. Because if it's not, the teeth are, it comes right back out with the motor grader. Does that sound good? Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing either, if everybody wants to admit that. I've never done this before. I'm just trying to go from what other counties are doing. I think we got a good idea. We know what the law is. I'm very clear on that. So we're well within our rights, but okay, we got a motion in a second. I will get out, Friday afternoon looks to be slow-ish. So I'll hopefully get all that out. We'll get this on the website if that's the case. So, all right, anything further?
You're gonna change.
What's that? Do you guys want to change it from 24 to 30, or do you want to leave it?
No, that's
Okay.
just something that.
As long as we have the discretion to require.
Yeah.
Correct. So the 24 again is just a minimum length. It can never be less than that, but the commissioner can require something greater than that, either in diameter or length. I just wanted to put a floor on it so there's no 12-inch culverts that.
Now, is it 24, the length of the culvert or the length of the safety ends?
See, this is why I need to have this discussion. I've got it not defined in here. So length of culvert doesn't have a definition yet. It could, but what do you want it to be? I think length of culvert should be to the end of enclosed area.
The culvert.
Not 24, not inclusive of safety ends.
You're gonna have somebody warn you that.
Okay,
That the safety ends are included, so I can put a 15-footer in.
okay. So
And usually the length of the pipe either comes in 10 or 20.
Yes,
So, you have to extend for the extra 4 feet. You have to special order.
That's true.
okay, so this is all questions that are good. All statements.
Not their problem.
Yeah.
I've had people call me and won't know where to get culverts, and I, recommend, Wilson culverts. And they're usually pretty good. They can drop them on their yard and they can pick them up there.
So let's have a conversation about that. You say they only come in 10-foot sections.
10 or 20. So if you go to Pioneer or Tucker's or wherever, they're gonna be a 20-foot.
And Tucker's doesn't have anything.
Yeah.
Basically.
Is 20 foot big enough to turn a vehicle on as a minimum?
But,
A vehicle.
For a vehicle, yeah.
I mean, if you just all straight about
Yeah. But not a trailer or.
But get a 24, you're gonna have to order it, special order.
Okay, well, we're not trying to be punitive to people. What's the better result? Is it just to go to 30?
you're still gonna have.
You still have to order.
order
You're
that.
still gonna have to, or you're gonna have to get 3 10s.
Okay, so
Man.
anything we do, we're gonna order, is what you're telling me. Unless you're putting a 10-foot culvert in, which is not gonna happen.
Unless you get some of these companies start carrying 24-foot cones.
Well, something like.
It was like any length you want.
So maybe we need to have, when the 911 coordinator is approached, we hand them a sheet or contact sheet where they can order calls. Just put all the vendors in there. So here.
I think we can give them the specifications of the culverts.
Figure it out.
I would be hesitant to list vendors from the standpoint of an ethics question. Are we advertising for one company over another as a government? Of course, we don't want to do that, but we still don't want, I mean, I think we can give out generally available information. Hey, there's a list of folks that have done business with the county.
Look up, it's on the internet and they'll come up.
Yeah, Google Culvert. You know, I don't have a problem with that. I think that if we included everybody that we've done business with, somebody's going to complain though. You could put me on there. Whatever. Other thoughts on this? Again, I know this seems trivial to some folks. This is a really important thing.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's important. If we can't keep the water off the road, we'll never keep the rock on. The 2 to 3 inch rains, not too bad. 3 to 4 inch rains, then suddenly we got real problems, roads blowing out, rock getting washed away. So I can define culvert length in here, that's not a problem, but definitions. If we need to put a definitions page, I can put several definitions in here, so I was avoiding trying to act like an attorney here, but that's what you guys want.
Well, like I said, you're gonna have people come up and say, well, it's 24-foot long from end to end.
No, I got you. Okay.
12-foot wide.
Good point.
That's a very good point. Okay, so what else in this policy needs to be defined? Because I'm happy to do any of this, don't get me wrong.
Go for 30-foot culvert regardless. Cause you know, the trash trucks, if they pull in there, they can kill anything.
Well, if they've got safety, they're not gonna do it. They tear their tires. Just me, I put rebar spikes on top of it. Put it on the culvert, then 5 minutes later, first trash truck comes through, it's flat as pancake.
You don't have an opponent this time, right?
Like an honest man.
Yes, sir.
Well, okay, so with that being said, I mean, we can define I can just make the amendment here orally and fix it in the document before we turn it out. Length of the culvert to be 24 inches exclusive of concrete safety ends. Okay. So 24 feet, I said 24 inches, 24 feet exclusive of concrete safety ends. And I'll put that language in section 5, number 2, and where it says right now, in no case shall culvert be less than 18 inches diameter, less than 24 feet in length, exclusive of safety ends and constructed of 14 gauge or greater galvanized corrugated steel. That's my proposal. Yes, ma'am.
Policy, I apologize, just make it clear they're to purchase that, they can't purchase it from the county.
No, exactly. That is a good, it does say that. That's a great point. We should point that out to everybody at home.
Number 4.
Yeah, that culverts may not be purchased from the county. Culverts must be acquired from a private source. Privately acquired culverts must be approved of the county prior to installation. But very good point. Very good point. Okay. I've got a motion and second. After the amendment to the length definition, is your motion still standing? Okay, second still stands. Good deal. Any further discussion on this riveting topic? All right, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Is unanimous. What I will do is get this language amended right after court, ship this out to everybody so you've got a copy of the latest and greatest, and hopefully before the end of the week have you the actual permit itself in hand. Number 5, discuss and approve bonds. Today we have bonds for the treasurer's office, our blanket bond, the tax office. We have our notary public blanket and our errors and omissions. We have the Hill County Sheriff's Office, Texas Notary Public Blanket, Errors and Omissions Bond. And then we have continuation certificates for Tina Lincoln, Gregory Mason, Nicole Tanner. That's, hey, the bond's still active. And then last but not least, Ms. Sherry Shove, who's over the Community Correction Supervision Officer number 1. Those are the bonds for today.
Make the motion pass.
We have a motion and a second to approve the bonds as presented. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, number 6 is observe and record the Hill County Sheriff's CAP policy, career advancement policy, effective October 1, 2024. So I don't have a copy of that in front of me. What changes got made to it? Yeah. I
These are just adjustments, in terms of the hourly rates and stuff like that, from the increases of the 3.25.
Okay,
We got across the.
so there's no substantive changes, just the numbers.
We're not adding any other ancillary pay, anything like that. We're just status quo. It's just the adjustments of, the hourly wage.
Okay, and treasurer, who's not here, she'd speak this
She's
morning.
the one that did it for us, sent it to us. We looked at it, said yes. And we've
Okay.
already actually added that to our.
Now, not to talk too much private business public, but I understand that you may be retiring before the end of the year.
Right now, December 2nd is my jump off date because it's still deer season and,
Fair enough.
so, and if you work one day in the month, the TCDRS credits you for the entire month.
Okay,
So it's gonna do the first, but the first is a Sunday, so my last day at work will be the 2nd.
who's going to take over for you from 2nd to the 31st?
I should have enough guidance put in place. This the holidays, it's not gonna be a big, usually that's our slowest time of year.
Using words like slow.
So, I just didn't use the Q word.
Yeah. No, don't say that. Don't say that.
But
Yeah, same.
I think what we're only talking about is just a matter of a few weeks when you add in holidays and stuff like that. So, I'm hopeful that we'd be able to just go on through.
Okay, it's just one of our concerns is, I mean, you've been running the show for a long time. I understand you're moving on to greener pastures. We appreciate that. I just wanted to know, I've not seen the sheriff in a while. What is his plan to replace you? Because it seems like the majority of the operation runs because of you. And I want to make sure that whatever is going to happen after the 2nd to the 31st, we know who to communicate with, how to communicate with that person. And we haven't been briefed on that yet. So.
Okay, well, and I could prepare a brief for the next one, but I've enjoyed my time here. I really have. I was only going to stay to the end of May when my son graduated. So I was already close to my jump off date.
Yeah.
Because of my time here, I've grown very, I've enjoyed my time here. I'm very committed to this county. I will have things in place so that we can keep on.
I appreciate you for that. Thank you. So we look forward to that. I won't give you any more of the 10th degree on that subject. Just it's one of those things that we're looking up our policy, what we're doing moving forward. And that's something we need to address. So, okay, good deal. All right. So in this case, this is the career advancement policy as presented by the treasurers and is open for discussion, gentlemen. Okay, so motion second to approve the career advancement policy, which we've just heard is a revision just to reflect the cost of living increase that was granted by this court for this fiscal year 2025. Is there any further discussion on the subject? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions? Motion carries. Number 7, man, you got to explain this one to me, Scott. All right, so number 7 is discuss and approve MOU between Fayette County SO and Hill County SO, Texas DPS be involved too. It's written just like they sent it to me because I didn't understand it. To enter into criminal interdiction agreement, giving Fayette County SO's interdiction unit to work with our jurisdiction during joint operations until December 31st, 2024. The MOU gives their deputies jurisdiction in Hill County. All assets seized during the operations will be split with the DA's office, getting their 30%, the HCSO and FCSO equally splitting the remainder 70 between two agencies. DA Pratt, CA Holmes each read the MOU. Mr. Holmes has some wording change before FCSO signing it. What's happening?
Okay, so I was approached by Trooper Perkins, who is assigned to, he's K-9, but he's out of Waco, but he works our area a lot.
Okay.
He also works throughout the state on interdiction. So he's been in contact with Fayette County, their interdiction unit. And so he approached me because what they do, Fayette County, this is one of the guys that was pretty renowned for the seizures that he gets on the highway doing criminal interdiction. We're talking about human smuggling. We're talking about drugs. We're talking about drug money.
or money from other criminal proceeds. And so between those two, they use this MOU other places, so the Vega County Sheriff authorizes this, and they came up with the MOU, and they've used it elsewhere. So before I went too far down the road, I sent it over to Mr. Holmes and Mr. Pratt for them to look it over. Mr. Holmes wanted some wording changed, and so we did that. He did it for us, and we sent it to them. They've signed it. So basically, it will give them the authority to come up here, give them jurisdiction. They will come up here, not for the entire duration of the year, but they'll come up here and spend a few days. Trooper Perkins is actually going to put one of them up at his house. And there's no cost to us, but it will basically be their interest. Why they want to come here specifically is because of the 235s and the split. With the intelligence that we gathered daily from some things that we have in place, they already mine that data, and a lot of people do, and we mine their data as well, looking for people that are doing nefarious things and using the interstate that runs through us to enhance their criminal benefits, I guess. Okay. So they came to me, Trooper Perkins came to me, and I'm like, okay, and now we do some criminal interdiction as well using the data that we mine, which has led to some seizures. We just deposited, I think, just shy of $20,000 in our seizure account from some drug money that basically we interdicted sometime back. So there's just less than $20,000. So there's a lot of money coming to and from going back to Mexico. Okay. Maybe I'm not sure. And this is an opportunity to one, have him train our deputies because he's pretty well renowned, has classes. So
okay, we're seeing this as a training opportunity.
Yes. And he comes with not only himself, but could be another deputy coming as well, and his canine. So Trooper Perkins is canine. We have a canine. Hillsborough has canines. So just an opportunity to do a lot of criminal interdiction in a short amount of time to hopefully benefit of not only locally, but globally in terms of stopping the fentanyl that's coming through, the cocaine, the methamphetamine.
So why Fayette County, not other counties that are involved in the same thing, up and down in the 35 corridor?
Yes, great question. Because they're the ones that the trooper approached me about. He's been in contact with them. There is another larger task force, basically, if you will, where counties donate criminal interdiction deputies. Started, I think, in Rockwall, and then what goes Dallas County, Denton County. And so they have jurisdiction. It's a judicial district, but they have jurisdiction on all those highways that run through those counties. Okay. They are also interested in coming down to do something similar. It's just they approached me with it. I'm like, sure, we can try it. Our guys are interested in doing it as well. So it's a good opportunity. Now, we would still file any cases that come through. They will turn around and write their supplements and stuff like that. And then we'll be the ones filing for the rest of it.
Prosecuted here.
Yeah, we're gonna wind up housing and feeding the felons. Yeah. Yeah.
A little bit more to your question about Fayette County is, if their people have, I mean, interdiction takes time.
Yeah.
Some of those guys just have citizen support, and so if they recognize somebody that's got some real talent for it. I'm sure that's part of what I'm bringing up. The other thing we mentioned too is civil asset forfeiture is under attack in the legislature, and so I don't know. I haven't read up on what bill filing is about to start. And I'm sure it'll be under attack again. And it's from both parties that actually want to get on. So possible get involved in what's going to happen with that.
I think I see the biggest plus here is going to be the training opportunity for our deputies to see somebody that knows how to do interdiction correctly. and the ability to transfer that knowledge to our people at no cost to us.
Yes, sir.
Except for keeping the inmates, yeah. Yes, yeah. Good. Other questions regarding this MOU?
And we ran it just to, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
I guess CPS will get a share too.
No.
Or they're not gonna do that.
No, state doesn't take a share on this one apparently.
And that's why they're not mentioned in it, because in order to do an MOU or anything like that, it's nearly impossible, so.
It's fun.
But they will be here helping.
Okay, good deal. More questions on the requested action, gentlemen?
Make a motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve an MOU between the Hill County Sheriff's Office, Hill County and Fayette County Sheriff's Office for interdiction services is what I'll call it.
That's the one.
Fayette County, yeah. LaGrange, Fayette County, LaGrange. Yeah. All right, any further questions? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion shall carry. I'm going to sign this and move it on. I think you're the next one too, Scott. Discuss and approve employees of the Hill County Sheriff's Office pitching in to purchase honestly retired Sheriff Watson's agency issues firearm for him, and I'll be purchasing mine myself, which I think that's actually you. Again, I was in Alpine, Texas with bad phone service, so I really apologize for this agenda, not getting to proofread it before I did. That's my bad. I'll eat that one. We have already purchased 2 Glock 45s to replace Sheriff Watson's duty weapon. The new replacement guns are slightly better than the weapons they'll be replacing. So that tells a story. We're legally allowed to do this, I believe.
Yes, under the government code, 614.051, an honorably retiring peace officer is allowed to either purchase his weapon as a retirement to keep it. So I've done this before. I bought Justin Motherspaugh's weapon for him when he left, and also McQuinn as well, out of my pocket. So this time we want to do something, the employees want to do something for the sheriff, so everybody kind of pitched in. And we got enough money for his weapon and then some. And then I'm gonna buy my weapon. With that being said, we have a little bit of money left over. We're probably gonna do a wheelchair.
Wheelchair? Wow. You thought your old jokes were rough in this building.
So anyway, so we're just gonna do something else nice for him. With all the time and stuff that he dedicated. It really suits in the ball.
Yes, no.
So-
It's a free for all today, Scott. I don't want to tell you.
So anyway, that's.
So it's type for type, block in, block out.
Yes, in fact, the ones that we ordered earlier in the year just to, in anticipation of this.
Yeah.
They actually have a better front sight post on it. So
Okay.
it's actually a little bit better of a weapon in my opinion.
I got you. Okay, good deal. And like I said, my only holdup was what you've already going to give to us, which is, hey, how's things going to work when you step aside? Because you really have been the driving force for a long time. We know that, not throwing casting aspersions. It's just the public needs to know. So with that understanding, I'll make a motion to approve this.
And he's still around. He talks by the office and we're in contact the whole time. So he's still present.
Okay.
So, second.
Okay, motion and second. Further discussion? Yes, sir. That's the career advancement policy that I left on my desk earlier. Sorry, I have a bad habit of dragging things out of this folder, reading them, and then putting them aside when something else comes in and they don't make it back into the deck. So that's what I'm doing. All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions, motion carries.
Thank you.
No, thank you. All right, we're going to move along, and that is number 9, discuss and approve 5th contract renewal participating entity services agreement for the statewide automated victim notification services. This is what we know as VINE. We get a grant from the Texas Attorney General's office. That's just kind of pass through money with, I don't say we're the fiscal agent, but kind of are. And that goes to APRIS, which operates this statewide automated victim notification service as it stands. This is if you have been victimized, your perpetrator, your assailant has wound up in jail. It gives you updates when they're going to be released. I think it'll give you updated parole hearings. I was told here a while back. Anything that's happening to that person, and it's for peace of mind for victims in the state of Texas. Again, it costs us some administrative time, so it's not 100% free, but it was very little. So at the end of the day, it'd be my recommendation that we approve this fifth contract renewal for participating in the services agreement for the statewide automatic victim notice services. So that's my motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions? The motion carries. If you guys want to know more about this, Ms. Katie Cole, our victim service coordinator for Hill County, is the one that gave me a pretty good education. She's really on top of this kind of stuff. So catch up with her. She'll let you know. All right. So I'm actually getting this filled out right now so that you don't have to chase me down later. I'm taking all the fun out of this for you. All right, number 10, discussion or financing of jail BDA, that's bidirectional antenna through Motorola. So we have previously had a presentation on the bidirectional antenna for the jail. That being the case, the financing was the question. We approved doing the project, the tune of about $180,000. And we went out for financing. Well, the provider, Motorola, has given us a set of numbers that actually beat anything else we can get an interest wise, which was fascinating to us. So our usual government capital, bless those people, they can't touch our interest rate that Motorola goes. I had Chris double check it yesterday to make sure it's still good, and it's still good. So the question is, do we want to go 3, 4, or 5 years? Or no, 3, 4, 7 years, something like that. I said I didn't really feel good about doing it more than 4 years. That's up to you guys. But at this point, we're approving financing for this project. Since we've previously approved doing the project, the cheapest we could find was with Motorola at 3. No.
No, there's,
So that's 5 cents.
5.69.
5.69. That's right. So that was the cheapest financing. Was that?
I like.
Yeah, me too. We thought we were going to beat that because we saw 5.69. Oh man, that's easy to get that lower than that. Yeah, so we were kind of. What's that?
We still can't do that in-house.
Well, let's ask Susan. Susan, can we borrow the money from ourselves? Save 5.6. Pay it back over.
20 years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to that. Fine. Me too. We got the big reserve. We're just borrowing. I think if we borrow from the reserve, it makes sense. We just set up structured payments back. I'd much prefer to do that if it's possible.
I'd rather do that wrong.
Since it would be out of the general fund, how do you maybe pay yourself back? It's not really in another fund, not for road and bridge, but it would.
Okay, well, since we didn't, I guess my biggest questions are, since we didn't budget for it this year, where does it come out? If it's 180,000, that's going to put a strain on any one line item. But yeah, if we can borrow it from ourselves in the general fund, that's much preferable not to pay the interest rate. If you're good with that, I would make the motion that we borrow the money from ourselves and have the auditor cut a PO today or as soon as possible for the purchase of a bi-directional antenna. Yes, sir.
2 POs. Just remember, it's like 159 from Motorola, and then it's like 216 from a different vendor.
That's exactly right. So I amend my motion to authorize the county to borrow the money from itself to save the interest. I don't have to put the save the interest part in it, with the understanding we'll have to issue 2 POs, one for the bi-directional antenna and one for the radios. And Chris will be responsible and for all of it. Just want to manage expectations up front, how that works. All right, motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. We're going to move along then to number 11, discuss and action radio policy. Chris has provided us with a radio communications policy. It's a very short but very straightforward document. What this is, it applies to any radio used by Hill County or used by Hill County employee and or volunteers. So we're putting these things in place. And we talk about policy. We need to make it clear to people our expectations. This is a straightforward policy. All radios purchased by Hill County through budgeted funds or grant funds must be approved by the radio administrator to ensure they're compatible and able to be programmed. I don't want somebody going out spending a bunch of money on a radio that won't work with our system, and then we're stuck with radios that don't work. 2, all radios must be programmed by the Hill County radio administrator or their designee unless the radio administrator gives authorization to use a third-party vendor. When you start having third-party vendors get into your radios, we have certain keys. I don't want to use the word encryption. I don't know if that's accurate, but we possess those keys, and third-party vendors let's just say they can screw things up if they don't know what they're doing. So we're spending a lot of money on these radios, rather keep it in-house. 3, all radios must be assigned to an individual or a position. Should the radio need to be reassigned, the radio administrator must be notified within 2 business days. These are not like our old radios where they just floated around. These new radios, they're pretty smart and they know who belongs to who. We want those radios assigned to individuals for positions because the county's made quite a large investment of your taxpayer dollars into those radios, and we need accountability on who those radios belong to. 4, all unassigned radios be kept with a radio administrator. Unless the entity is a public safety entity, then we'll keep 1 spare radio on hand for emergency after hour situations. The goal here is, again, you're talking about some of these radios base price, $1,500. It goes up from there. We've got some radios way more expensive than that. We don't want to hamstring anybody, but keeping track in our inventory is part of our job. Actually, it's also something that we got brought up in a recent audit we had about tracking this inventory, and they wanted to see these policies. So these audits for grant funds require these things. I think it's straightforward. Again, I have never found a time that I couldn't call Chris in the middle of the night if I needed something. He's been called many times this week, matter of fact. So having a single spare is not meant to hamstring anybody. It's just to keep us in compliance with our grant duties. Number 5, any radios that are lost or stolen must be reported to the radio administrator immediately to have the radio ID deactivated on irrelevant systems. We don't want unapproved individuals operating on our systems. That's part of the reason of this trunk radio, is that to keep bad guys off of it. Number 6, any radio which has been damaged or needs to be repaired or has been destroyed. And guys, it happens. It's not intentional, but police work, it gets brutal sometimes and things get broken. So all we're saying is that it's got to be reported to the radio administrator within 2 days. Again, it's a accountability issue. Number 7, any radio repairs or replacement are the cost of the department they are assigned to. Any radio lost, destroyed, or any radios needing to be replaced must be replaced with a radio of equivalence to current times and standards. So if we lose a bi-channel radio, we can't replace it with a single channel radio. We're basically saying we're replacing it type for type to keep our inventories current. Any radio repairs or replacements must occur within the same budget period as when the incident occurred unless otherwise authorized. 8, all persons using county radios must have NIMS training. That's National Incident Management System. These particular NIMS classes, including but not limited to IS 100, 200, 700, 800, which can all be taken online. We're not trying to put extra requirements, but we're all supposed to be NIMS certified anyway, including the elected officials in this county. Get a little coffee and let that one sink in for just a second. That's good coffee. Anyway, so we're just basically saying we are going to be compliant for our grants with that requirement through our policy that if you've got a radio, you got to take the NIMS. And really the NIMS tells you a good bit about how radio operation, safety, and conduct should happen. It's no longer the old days. It's the responsibility of each department head or designee to ensure training is completed prior to being issued a radio. 9, all persons using county radios must utilize the training from NIMS when communicating on the radio at all times. I don't want to hear any breaker 19. The 10 codes are a thing of the past. I know we all loved them. Hate to see them go the way of the dodo. And then, certain language like profanity is not allowed. So we should be clear of that. But yeah, NIMS really regulates what we do. If we all use the same system, it's easier to understand in time of emergencies. We all are on the same page. 10, all persons using county radios must comply with all state, local, federal laws and regulations pertaining to radio communications. No going out and building your own amplifiers. No going out and doing dumb things with radios. That's all this says. So this will be our radio communications policy. Any party that is issued a radio will be issued this. They will have to sign their name and date it, and it will be issued into their employee file. So that means I've been issued a radio. I have to sign this. Everybody, Chris has been issued a radio. He has to sign it. Tom and everybody else. We're not, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. We need this for accountability for our grants, and this is one way to do it. So it's my recommendation and my motion that we approve the radio communications policy for Hill County as presented. Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I shall call the question. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. Any abstention? The motion carries. There's radio communications policy. We'll get a copy of that to the treasurer's office. Then we're going to move along to number 12, which is discussing our action and creation of a Hill County CERT. CERT is Citizen Emergency Response Teams. At this time, I'm going to turn the floor over to the Chris's. So we know Chris Jackson, our radio administrator. We have Chris now with us that was previously Ed Jaworski for many years, worked in our part-time position as our radio man. He's moved on to greener pastures of retirement. Chris now fulfills that. We're lucky to have him. Not only is he learning the radio system at Chris Jackson's side, but this Chris also has a passion for community response teams. So these CERT teams, there's monies out there, there's places they come in handy, and I want you guys to listen with an open mind what he's about to propose. Chris, you have the con.
Thank you very much. I've had a little bit of experience with CERT in the past. I'm from the Northeast. Don't hold it against me. I originated.
Start a conversation with I'm a Yankee. That's
And
great.
I transferred for a job, and then I got back here as quickly as I could.
There you go. Good deal.
But,
I like this guy. Just run into the problems head on.
there we go. My experience with CERT, which is Community Emergency Response Team, as aforementioned, is from the Northeast, and our environment up there is a little bit different than here. Where I was on the Catskills, so our CERT team was responsible for search and rescue on Appalachian Trail, and we did helicopter landing zones and things like this. As I understand the need and the desire in this area, it's a little more focused on severe weather, Skywarn types of opportunities in partnership with the National Weather Service, and then an opportunity to assist with the local fire departments on rehab. Major
Rehab, they mean that it's hot outside. They have units on scene to help the firefighters cool down.
which is, something that goes on informally now, often with the spouses and things like that, but there's not an organized rehab operation, except one small group in White Bluff that exists together. It doesn't matter what part of the country CERT organization exists, and there's about 24 of them, and 2,400 of them in place right now in the country. The training is the same. It's NIMS certified. We've heard that acronym earlier. Homeland Security is responsible for setting that criteria, and it's a 24-hour training course that is very standard from one part of the country to the other. Where it varies by area is if we're going to focus on rehab and we're going to focus on Skywarn, then that ancillary training for citizens is really more amped up in those areas. Just with volunteer fire departments, our biggest opportunity and perhaps challenge is recruiting to get your people in. It's something you have to live and work with every day. But my vision for this would be that there is a initial training class for a CERT sometime in the early part of the year. Now understand, when a group comes in for CERT training, our first goal is just to have them ready to take care of themselves, take care of their neighbors, take care of their family. But when they go through that initial 24-hour training, if they're in alignment with us and they're interested in becoming part of a response team, then that extra training goes into place, and that of the rehab training and the weather training and things like that. And we built a 30 to 35 member team from around the county who can respond upon request. They do not self-dispatch, but upon request of the volunteer fire department, EOC, local officials, and they fit right into that existing incident management process that is in place already in the county, in the state, and probably in coordination with PDM as well. It's not a fire department, it's not a police department. They are not certified in anything other than exactly what we put them to do. And again, they don't self-dispatch. So it's really just an opportunity to give the local first responders an extra hand. It has to be, for lack of a better term, babysat, which is proposed, and I can do that. I can really make sure that I think we have the right leaders in that group, and then make sure that they're able to respond. And in terms of funding, it's a fairly minimal opportunity there. It's not an expensive organization to run, and anything that we fund with is through donation and through official channels with the county, so that we can make sure that these folks need a t-shirt or they need a helmet or, safety gear, that we have all of that in place. So I'm prepared and ready to move forward with it. I have a lot of things in place already, just background work that I've done. And we're just looking for some support from you guys, not only from a, official standpoint, but I need help with recruiting, as people.
So you had problems controlling those roads?
None.
Historically?
None, and I think the secret sauce in that is you have the initial training, and from that you get to know them, they get to know you, and then you're able to cherry pick pretty much who you want to come onto that group. And it's important because you can't just allow anybody to carry your banner on.
John, what you got?
Well, number one, in the past, hot dog reading is one of those, but there are certain teams. We've had two CERT teams that are prior to this, But one of the things I learned in the process is it has to have a heartbeat.
Great.
If you don't have that person with the drive and heartbeat to make it succeed, it will die on the vine. When Chris came to us with his ideas and what he wanted to do, I saw the opportunity that we can take advantage. I mean, we funded from the EPAC, Homeland Security. There are funds that help, buy supplies and various things and another. I see this as something. I just got off the phone with my cousin up in Tennessee with all that's going on up there. Their number one thing he said is you can't depend on FEMA, you can't depend on anybody. It's locals helping locals.
It's always been that way here, yeah.
And that's the way it works. That's what this team is geared for, is having local people helping local people. So I am 100% on board to move this forward under Chris's direction, because he knows what he's doing. He comes with the pedigree, and I believe this is gonna be a real success.
I find myself in favor of it as well. I mean, we've been doing this, since 2007, Tom? We've been through the West disaster, we've been through COVID, we've been through ice storms. And one of the biggest challenges for us is finding an organized team of volunteers. Now, we always wind up somebody coming to help. We've never been where we couldn't operate at all. But frankly, to have a standing group of people that have some formal training in our systems and how we operate, that group of volunteers that we could call upon would be great. I remember at times it's the two of us in the middle of the night looking at each other like, oh man, are we going to sink or swim this time? Things have come a long way from then, and I'm so glad they are. But I think this is the next logical step. Like we've talked about, we've had CERT teams in the past. They've not been directly associated with the county, but a CERT team is a bit of a thing of passion. You have to have a passion to do it, to want to do it. And it's difficult for folks to lead that in just a volunteer capacity, because they have the rest of their life to lead. So I find myself in favor of this. I think this is something to be fruitful for the county, and definitely something that's going to be beneficial for our community in the long run. The only concerns that I have are what my concerns always are. Being an old German, I'm worried about money. Most of this will be donation. We're not talking about a big funding. It's not going to have a huge fiscal impact on our budget this year. The only thing I see is that, donations that come to the county, there's a certain way we must do things under the local government code. We can find other entities that also have certs and how they do it. I don't want to hamstring us, because what a cert will do, go off, hey, these firefighters need Gatorade, we go buy Gatorade. They need a meal and we can't get it donated, we'll go buy a meal. Now, there's some prohibition generally in the county on spending money on certain things. There's other counties that are doing this and expending funds on it, and they're doing it, taking in donations. We can do the same thing. We can look at what they're doing and copy and make sure that we have a fiscally and financially sound policy to go along with it. We're not looking to create a new expenditure. We're looking to create a new appurtenance, a new arm and appendage, if you will, of the county that is going to operate on grant and donations for the most part. There may be in the future a need for a rehab vehicle. That would be a vehicle which is a large air conditioner. We could cool. Somebody didn't like what I said, and we hang up on. Anyway, a vehicle would cool down such time that we would have to talk about the county owning a vehicle or doing a vehicle of some sort, and the insurance on that. But that is not a proposal that's before the court at this point by any means. So all that being said and done, I think that this is something that has an opportunity to be a net positive for the county, and I'd like to see us explore this. And I know that what we're doing today will have effect on the future. The changes that we're going to have to make to address the growing population in this county, those changes need to start today. That's my 2 cents. Thoughts? Okay. So the action requested today is fairly straightforward. What we're looking at doing is creating the CERT, and you have before you a draft. It's a very short. We know you're commissioner, so we try not to use big words. Easy. They're paying attention still. That's good to hear.
That's bad.
It was pretty bad. I said that took that long to register. I was a little worried there for a second.
Too late to change the pay structure.
It's too late to that. No, I make sure to make these jokes after the budget is finalized. I know where in my agenda I put these things. All right. So you look at the program background information. You've got the structure, 2 types of foundational financial structures. You have our 501c3 is typically leveraged by these CERT programs that are associated with a private or publicly held company. And that's something we may do is have them create the 501(c)(3) on the side so that that money that's donated passes through without the county's tough rules and regulations on saying, this is what you can buy at this hour, at this time, and this many pre-bids. So we're going to work with our financial folks, including the auditor's office, to make sure we do this in a way that's open and transparent, but at the same time does not hamstring the program from doing what they're designed to do. You look at our program authority, Hill County Emergency Management will be the sponsoring agency, and they have ultimate authority over the administration of the CERT, including approval of all policies, training, procedures, and instruction. Obviously, they're going to come to us for advice, consent, but I don't want this to be a burden upon this entity. And quite frankly, we're not exactly creating this from scratch. I'm a fan of the case method, copy and steal everything. So other people have already done this and we'll modify it to our means. The program standard operating procedure, this is the draft. We have not done a finalized one. We will come back to this court with a final agreement soon. We just wanted to put this in front of you guys to show what it looks like. The training is going to be dictated by and in compliance with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and the Federal Federal Emergency Management Administration CERT training requirements, which those exist. The Hill County Program Coordinator is approved CERT instructor, which you guys should know that. And the Heart of Texas Council of Governments also provide approved instructors as part of their servicing to Hill County. I'll be honest, we didn't have an active CERT recently in the COG, and there's some monies that we didn't get fully used. So by us doing this, there is some grant opportunities out there that come from our regional level. For our supplies, Hot Cog will supply approved training materials, initial startup equipment for new members. Additionally, ancillary equipment will be channeled through Hill County Treasurer's Office of Hill County in compliance with Texas state law and be funded by donation or a grant. In-kind donations from supportive community businesses in the form of physical supplies will also be accepted. And the time frame is we want to graduate our inaugural class in Q1 of 25. So first quarter of 2025. That's a mere 5 months away. The end of that quarter, anyway, I should say. So we want to move along pretty quickly. The reason for that is the deployment ready prior to our storm and our fire seasons. Any questions about that document? And again, we're not approving this document today. We're approving the creation of the CERT, and we will bring the program document back for final approval in a non-draft form at another meeting.
Well, that's good.
Yes, sir.
Is it okay if we put up a banner at the event tomorrow night?
Yes.
Okay. I just
So,
wanna make sure.
no, this is hand in hand what we're trying to do. We're talking about tomorrow night's Hill County Resource Fair that we're putting on. I won't say that was April Cook's idea, and I went, that's a great idea. Let's run with it. A lot of people in on it, but yes, an opportunity for folks to come out and learn that there is a CERT team. Maybe they've always wanted to volunteer, they just didn't know how to do it. I think this is a place that we could put that information out in the public. So, all right, anything further? Is there a motion?
Second.
Is there a second? No, there's a second. I can get second out. So that being the question, any further discussion regarding the creation of a Hill County Citizens Emergency Response Team? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you. All right, we're going to move to 13. Discuss and approve a copier for Hill County Clerk's Office. Does this save money?
It's actually 2. I know it doesn't. No, it does in the long
run. Yeah, we're getting what's going on is we're moving away from having a printer on every desk to copy machines. Copy machine contract is up in that office, as I understand it. Those little desk printers, that ink is insane what it's going for now. You could almost buy a new printer for the cost of the ink. Then you find out that they have this really easy trick where they put in these test cartridges for anyway. So long and the short of things, we have from CTWP a sales order agreement for these 2 copiers, and they will replace the copier in the front and the one in the back.
The one in the back
Back,
and the one downstairs.
So that is the motion, and a second to approve copier contract for Hill County Clerk's Office for 2 copiers with CTWP. Any further discussions? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion shall carry. Number 14, discuss and approve sealed bids for Old Blum Yard at 115 Avenue A, Blum, Texas. The court's previously gone out, had a commercial appraisal done of this property that used to be the Precinct 1 barn and downtown Blum. We advertised for sealed bids, received 2 bids, as I understand it.
Correct.
And Jim, take it from there. What do we got?
Yeah, when we published that, we did not publish a minimum, and both of the bids flew back below the appraisal. David and I have been talking about that, and I was trying to take the higher of the 2 bids, and that's not allowed.
Okay, so we're gonna have to.
So we've got 2 options. We could sell it at the courthouse steps, which I don't want to do.
No, nor do I.
Or we could go back out for sale bid and put the minimum required in the publication.
Okay, I have no problem with that.
Um,
So this first item, then, if I'm reading what you're picking up what you're laying down, is that we need to reject the previous. bids.
Correct.
So I'm making a motion to reject the previous bids received for the old Bynum Yard, old Blum Yard. I'm selling your property now, sorry. The old Blum Yard at 115 Avenue A, Blum, Texas.
Second.
All right, motion is second to reject all bids. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions? Motion carries. And that brings us to number 15, which is discuss and approve republishing a request for sealed bids for the old Blum Yard at 115 Avenue A, Blum, Texas. And we include the minimum amount.
So two options. We could go back to the appraiser, markets changed, I mean, obviously, market value is what we can get for it.
What was the appraisal?
The appraised value of it, do you remember?
Appraised
The
value?
price value is 108,000.
108,000.
Is that a possible number?
What's that?
Is that a possibility?
I switched pace very much. I mean, I've always.
Was that a positive number?
That's possible.
I'm not an appraiser, but like the lower 2/3 of that thing's in the floodplain. You're not gonna exactly build a hotel shea of it or something.
So that was one of the points is I've gone through the appraisal several times and there are some places that they could adjust that to fit market conditions. Do we want to spend that money? Do we want to roll the dice, run the risk of putting the number out there and then not getting it? I mean, my goal is to move the property at market value. Obviously, before it's done with the law, it is what it is.
Exactly. Well, my question is, it's your yard. What would you like to do?
Like I said.
Agreed. Believe me, I think everybody's on the same page as you.
I would like the opportunity to go back to the appraiser
Okay.
and have them. take a
Reevaluate. Have it reevaluated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
What
When
do y'all think?
I think it's a good idea because I am not a real estate agent. I don't deal in a lot of real estate in this county. I see what I see, but I thought that appraisal was, it was high, in my opinion, it was high for what it was. You know, you're talking about a property that's next to an old railroad track that we've used as a county barn for, I don't know how long we've owned it, since the 50s at least, from what I understand. The lower 2/3 of it is literally in a floodplain. It's not developable. We don't have a fence around it because the fence ain't gonna stay there if you get a good rain. There's just a lot of little things like that. The building on it, no offense, it's not the Taj Mahal with no tin barn. But they added on storage container. So I don't know the market. Maybe that's appraised right, but it just kind of seemed high.
You have some contract. Settings, you can also contract.
Yeah, if we contracted with a broker, a real estate broker, I mean, we've got a negotiation on what the terms would be of that to sell it. Would they be bound by the appraisal, or would it be more of a, hey, whatever they get, prima facie evidence, market value? Yeah, I don't know the answer to that, because we're gonna spend money with an appraiser to have him redo what he already did. It's probably gonna go, I did it right the first time. I doubt he's a backup on his opinion, but if we had a broker, and if we're not bound by that appraisal value, then that seems like I'd rather spend money with the broker than I'd spend money with the
Well,
appraiser.
we spent less money redoing the appraisal.
What did we spend for the appraisal last time? Okay.
You know.
I don't know. What is this?
I'd rather not pay the commission if I didn't have to.
No, I got you. I got you.
And since he's already done it once, I would imagine that the cost would be lower. Since he's already took the first cut at it.
Yeah, I just was, I am under the opinion that he did it the first time. He's gonna go, I'm not saying I was wrong the first time, you know. I don't see it going back down if that's what we're looking at. I think anything market value is probably gonna go up further. Just because of general conditions in Hill County.
Well, let's do this. If it's okay, I would like to go back and at least have a conversation with the appraiser.
Yeah.
And see what his response is to that. And
okay,
if
let's do that.
If it's not acceptable, then we go ahead and publish, use this appraisal. Publish the number and see what happens.
So do we want to take action today or put this off to the next commissioner's court?
Let's take it.
Okay, cool. We'll do that. We'll table this, give you opportunity to go back to the appraiser and see what he's got to say and give us an opportunity to read. Guys, if anybody paying attention or following along at home, why this seems to be so problematic for us is chapter 262 of the local government code details out very few ways that we can actually sell real property. And as protection of taxpayers, so the governmental entities don't go off and just make deals for their friends or sell things below market value. When we divest ourselves at the county level of real property, we're required to do a few things. And one of those is to have an appraisal. And we're supposed to use that as a floor price, a minimum price. There are times though that you'll get appraisals back that frankly just don't look like them in reality are in the same room. That's happened before. It happened to us once before on a building down here, if I recall. So everything said and done, I'd rather take a little bit of time, like the commissioner would like to do, make sure that we're crossing all our T's, dotting all of our I's, and in compliance with state law before we move forward. So we will do that. Number 16, discuss and approve setting a public hearing to abandon, vacate, remove the undeveloped portion of Rabbit Shadow from tax parcel 355-153 to the state right of way FM 1713. This is a subdivision road that was platted originally. And the Rabbit Shadow was never built out. And then importantly, there's also what I guess originally was going to go all the way through, but there's a parcel in between that somebody owns. So what we've got is a road from 1713 to nowhere. The two lots that would be affected, I guess 3 lots technically would be affected, would be the one on the east and the west of this proposed road.
Correct.
And that lot in the back into which it dead ends, do they access their property from it or they access?
They come in off a Rabbit Shadow Trail access.
Okay.
So they don't come off of 1713. This is not used as access to anything. It's not a prescriptive easement. It just was never developed.
So all 3 parties are willing to sign off and say, hey, we're good to close this road?
Yes.
Oh, good to, when you want to set that? Okay. Anyway, so
Live on that street, so I was just wondering.
You
I thought
do?
They did this so long ago.
are we doing favors for you?
No.
I'm kidding.
I mean, there is no road there. It's all grass.
Yeah, it was one of those subdivision roads that were laid out that never got.
Storage container.
Yeah.
It's just,
right there.
okay. So on this one, let's look at our dates for holding a public hearing. 20 days posted notice on the road itself, or actually that's going to be fun on this one since it was never made. We're going to have to go on either end of it and post it. So what we're looking at on the calendar then is you want to hold that public hearing? Oh, that's kind of wild how that worked out. We can't do it on the 22nd. The next meeting would be the 12th of November.
Okay.
Will that work for you? Hold it during the 12th of November at a regular public hearing, regular meeting in Commissioners Court. Okay.
Get notice and looking consent to abandon.
All right, good deal. We'll get an application. We'll get those guys done. So there's a motion to approve to hold a public hearing to abandon, vacate, and remove the undeveloped portion of Rabbit Shadow from tax parcel 35513 to the state right of way at FM 1713 to hold that public hearing during a regular meeting of the Hill County Commissioners Court on 12th day of November 2024.
Second.
Motion is second. All right, in which case I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. All right, number 17, discussion and action on Hill County ITSO CGIS audit policies. We recently had our CGIS audit, which is always nerve-wracking for everybody involved. I want to thank Philip for doing that. I know it's mostly down to the sheriff's office, but we carry a lot of that water, and I want to thank Chris, all you guys did as well. So there's some policies that are being recommended, nothing that we failed here, but just as good policy. And so we have those before us today. And you will see that the titles of these policies are 5 of them here. The first one is the media protection policy. The next one is the system and services acquisition policy. The third one is the Hill County Sheriff's Office incident response policy. The fourth is security awareness and training policy. And the fifth is system and information integrity policy. You're going to read these, and I'm sure you guys already have because they're in your packets. And you're going to go, Justin, this is all pretty common sense. Yes, it is common sense. It's not a flower, though, that grows in everybody's garden, we find. So that being said, we're putting down in writing some of these common sense things. It just basically talks about our media, storage, and by media, we're not talking about the news channel. We're talking about, saving, things we save, shares, files, hard drives, things along that line. So IT direction from the sheriff's office shall restrict access to network resources as file share of software programs to authorized staff and approved vendors only. Again, this is common sense stuff. It just needs to be in writing somewhere.
Judge, these are practices that we're already doing.
Correct.
But the CJIS auditor, we didn't have a lot of stuff written down, so the CJIS documented, so.
Just document.
That's exactly what we're doing, documenting it. So I've reviewed all these policies, and again, I think it's a good idea. I don't have any questions or concerns with any of the 5 that are being presented here today. Commissioners, your thoughts?
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the aforementioned policies. That would be the media protection policy, the system and services acquisition policy, the Hill County Sheriff's Office incident response policy, and that incident is computer or IT related incidents, the security awareness training policy, and the system and information integrity policy. Those are the policies we're moving to approve. And there is a second. And is there any further discussion? Call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Number 18, discussion action on budget amendments. I'm not certain that we have any today that are ready to go. So,
We'll just wait till next.
okay, thank you. And number 19, discussion and action on participating agency subcontractor agreement between CATRAC and Hill County. CATRAC is the Capital Area Regional Advisory Council. So what we have is there's racks all over the state of Texas. There's the hot rack, or there was the hot rack. And what they do is they coordinate certain resources between healthcare providers, local governmental entities, so like hospitals, ambulances, services, you name it. And we also get governmental services. The hot rack has ceased to really function as an entity some time back. COVID really showed some flaws in their design structure, and CATRAC stepped up. Remember when we used to get those masks and gloves and all that stuff at Austin? That's who did all that. So a while back, the Heart of Texas Council of Governments, which is separate from the Heart of Texas Regional Advisory Council, invited and opened up office space for CATRAC to do business in their offices there in Waco. And so we have, for over the last year and a half, 2 years now, had a relationship. Simply what we're doing here is participating sub-agency subcontractor agreement for a healthcare preparedness program. You can look at this. There's nothing life-changing here, but it talks about. Oh, I didn't mean to make anybody mad. Stuff.
My phone stuff.
You got that wheelchair you were talking about earlier, Scott? Anyway, you know, we're in the CATRAC is a performing agency which is defined by the Department of Health and Human Services, been awarded funds for the hospital healthcare preparedness program on behalf of trauma service areas L, M, N, and O. States broken up these different areas. And so that talks about Bell, Coryell, Hamilton, Compasses, Milan, of course, McLennan, Balskowski, Freestone, and a bunch of other counties as well. The basic responsibilities of the CATRAC is to serve as a contractual lead agency between DSHS and the Regional Hospital Preparedness Program, healthcare coalitions, and those aforementioned trauma regions. They're also to administer any HPP funds, healthcare coalitions in this trauma area. They administer the work plan to ensure all funds are allocated and approved equipment and supplies are purchased and inventoried. It goes through and lists the rest of these. I won't read them all to you. And then participating area agencies' responsibilities you find on the third page of this agreement. And it's utilized regionally prescribed crisis management information systems such as EMR Resource or WebEVOC, which we use WebEVOC in this area, in order to effect uniform situational awareness as common command, control, communications, information access prior to, during, and after emergency or disaster. This all goes back to our emergency preparedness. These words, NIMS, National Incident Management System. Again, all this falls in. You see there's so many different competing parts of any emergency. This is just one more of those competing parts. It talks about we are to maintain an inventory of all equipment, supplies, and services received as grants in accordance with DSHS inventory management disposition requirements. Equipment and supplies shall be made available for inspection and audit to CATRAC, DSHS, federal personnel. We just went through an audit recently on grant, the radios actually is what that one was on. Was it DSHS audit or was that, who did the audit the other day?
Governor's office.
Governor's office, okay. Then which we get audited on grants from time to time. It's good practice for them. So and it talks about for hospitals that they have to maintain a minimum level of preparedness. And again, remember, number 10, incorporate NIMS into the agency's incident command. Do we talk about that in public or no?
We can talk about some of it.
There's a box that we have in our possession and have had for many years since I've been here. That box contains some really unpleasant ideas. It is a box of things like iodine. It would be boxes and iodine for if there was a nuclear situation. It's maintained by the CDC out of Atlanta. They have a camera on it. The FBI has a motion sensor and some cameras on it. And the idea inside of this box that we maintain is if there was a mass casualty incident, certain nuclear incidents, certain biological incidents, that we would have the necessary stuff to respond at a local level. We don't disclose the location of that box. Just know that it does exist. And from time to time, we are audited on that box. I don't think we've ever had this discussion in public, so I'm trying to be very careful about that. It's no great secret, but at the same time, we take very, very strenuous security measures with the box. One time we were sleeping in the room and decided, well, we'll just unplug it for a minute and move the box and sweep under the box. We got to meet new friends with badges and black suits. So we don't do that. And just let it be dirty under there, get a longer burn. So what I'm getting at is these people help us take care of that as well. And like I said, some of the chemicals in that box, I'm contemplating.
These chemicals expire, that's what they're doing.
Yes. So that's one more thing they do. Used to, we had to kind of do this in-house to a large degree, cooperating with the feds, and believe me, that's no fun. So anyway, long and short of it, these folks do a lot of different services for us. They have done a lot of services in the past. CATRAC is an operation that outgrew its original geographical boundaries and now provides services to large parts of the state. I think it's in the best interest of Hill County to enter into this agreement and allow them to do what they do. Thoughts, questions, motions?
Motion. Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it and the noes know it. So at this time, Mr. Crumpton.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion second.